Alright, I have to wait for the stream to actually pop up. Alright. Alright, let me go to share. Hello, Meowsers. Alright, there's the live stream right there. That's how you can actually see my screen. I'd prefer people use school chat to post their stuff, so I'm gonna go ahead and start with hammers. You can just ignore this, something I'm doing. I'm gonna use this palette right here. Let me get rid of one of these actually. No, I'm not going to. Alright. It's a legendary 3-second delay. Yeah, you know what? I recommend just muting the stream, and you can listen to me on Discord, and then you can just look at the stream. I'm gonna go ahead and start with a hammer. Like with most tools, you can just make a pommel. That's optional. A hammer also needs a pretty long handle, just like an axe. It's just the difference with an axe is like, with an axe you'd have one side kind of like this, but you know, a bit sharper. Then you'd have the thing in the middle, and then you would just have that. The difference with a hammer is just like this curved thing on both sides. Also, I obviously was not trying right there. So I'm gonna have the handle lead directly into this little gem thing, which we're going to be using to separate the two sides of the hammer. You should try and make your hammers flat, considering they're meant to crush things, not really cut them. So there's no sense in having them look sharp. And there you go, there's an uneven hammer right there. It looks a little too big, in my opinion, so I'm just gonna go ahead and make this a bit smaller. As you can see, this perfect precision right here. And there you go. It's a bad hammer. Which is still, again, not really perfectly even, but it's pretty hard to make it perfectly even, especially with a gem like this, considering, you know, you got the thing that's uneven because it has that right there. So you just do that. If you want, you can actually make the hammer thing wider than the gem. By doing something similar to this. Except if you're not like me, you'll do it actually competently and it will look much better than this. And there you go. It's pretty simple. It doesn't look the absolute best, but it honestly doesn't really have to, considering, again, this is a tutorial. It's not really like trying to teach you how to make hammers every single time. It's more so a basis to just go for. It's impossible to teach somebody just how to do something in art. You know, they gotta try and develop their own style. Alright, that's pretty simple. I didn't even do that right. So you gotta love when there's no real reason to have the audio input filming, because literally everybody in this Discord apparently does not own a microphone, so that's just amazing. So you'd shade your handle and your pommel around the same as you would with every other tool on the planet, not that hard. Shade this gem like you would a usual big gem like this, so you take a shape, and you just add more, and then, yeah, you got it right there. This is how at least I do it. You can go ahead and start on a hammer, considering that is going to be part of the next assignment. And with a hammer, you do generally the same thing as an axe. You just keep the highlight highlighted, then some edges, and that's about it. Hammers are pretty similar to axes. Using the wrong palette here. That is raw, unfiltered skill. So yeah, that's basically hammers, for now, at least. Just replicating the shading on both sides. Oh yeah, and if you've already done the last assignment, go ahead and, use the same palette, considering it's pretty obvious that we're going to be making a set by now. You can essentially do this next part literally however you want to. You can't really provide a tutorial on how to shade after you already have all this. I did that wrong, didn't I? There we go. It's a pretty basic hammer. You can anti-alias it more if you really want to. Just be careful to make sure you don't overdo it. You can fill this up with your fourth color. And there are two ways to do this. You can either kind of add stripes, like it's a shiny piece of metal. Or you can go ahead and just, this is the preferred way, you can go ahead and just shade it like any normal thing. Just around the edges and then like that. This is kind of banded right here. I'm gonna fix that. Easy. Anyways, there you go. I'm assuming y'all are starting now, so we can pretty much just wait, and I can go ahead and start giving feedback on those once you get those done. I'm gonna go ahead and cover just generally sets. This is the main point of this. A set is, well, a set. Like, they have to match together, they have to look like they're part of the same thing. So, obviously you're gonna want to have some sort of theme across it, even if that's just a basic metal set, and the only thing it shares is the palette. So for one set, sometimes you can just have a secondary material as your main shared aspect, or you can have something actually really special. I've seen some people, like in the Fernia mod, they have a set where it's kind of blue magic sticking outside the outlines and having space there, which sounds a bit complicated, but it's pretty easy to pull off. So generally try and keep your sets with a consistent theme. So this was the thing I submitted for the sword, and you can see its general theme is just having a bunch of green details. I've essentially just been using any random palette. Yeah, same style, same colors. So yeah, just any random palette really for a set. Obviously make it look good, don't just throw seriously any random palette. This palette's a little light. Well, it's not a little light, it's a lot light, but... So I'm just gonna go ahead and make this actually fit in with the set real quick. Okay, I have an idea. New rule. Complete awkward silence. Smart get microphone or ban. Got him. That fits a little more. Even though it's not good at all. So I'm just gonna completely get rid of what I just did. Because that's arguably worse. Let's be honest. Okay, I think I got a better idea. Also, I see too many people where they get one small unique aspect with their set, and they just spam the ever-living shit out of it. That's not the best idea in the world. Like, you should have more than one thing diversifying your set from your average metal. Don't worry about set consistency with, like, everything in the entire known universe, but it should obviously be different from your standard metal if it's not your standard metal. Yay, love family in the background. Everybody loves that. I think a lot of people are actually going to be having family issues considering it's a Super Bowl. So everybody's watching the Super Bowl with their families instead of on this Discord. I would make a hem joke, but actually, please stay. I need viewers. Well, it's not really viewers. It's more so just people to actually, you know, get more help. Considering the more people we have, the easier it is to actually teach people. Alright, there we go. Just finish this off. Alright, I think that fits the set pretty well. There's a, you know, you can generally see some consistency within there. It would probably look much more similar if there actually was a, you know, hilt to the hammer, but there's not. We're just gonna make this a bit darker. Because this uses the highlight much more than this does, so this one tends to look a lot lighter. Not tends to, it is a lot lighter. But no, you can only do so much. Let me just add the finishing touches on the outline here. Also, when you're adding color outlines, think of what is on top of what. If there's some, so you have two materials together like this. If something is on top of another material, its outline will show. Even though you really shouldn't be separating materials with an outline, it probably is something a lot of beginners will do, considering much easier. But even something like this can look much better than just separating. Remember which one is on top. And there you go. I'm just gonna go ahead and save this. Easy. Right, so does anyone have any progress on any tools yet? Let me see how awkward it is if I can hear my own live stream. Make it extra awkward. Yeah, I can actually hear the delay though. It's a very big delay. You can go ahead and post it, Meowsers. Also, you're in a lesson, so I'm gonna go ahead and give you the student role. It's alright, I mean... Oh boy, Small. What is with you and the bee palette? Is that just your thing now? That is huge. It's like a massive thing. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and post my hammer in school chat. You gotta love when File Explorer continually opens on the monitor I'm streaming on instead of the one it should actually be open on. And soon people are gonna have memorized all of my files. There you go. I'd shade the crystal more like mine in the middle. Go ahead and keep your pommel like that. Your hammer, I think I see what you were going for. But I think you should actually, like, you should take the front and you should shade that. And then you can do the same thing with the actual, I'm gonna call them stripes. Oh, why'd you delete it? Oh, yeah, you can go ahead and just take a screenshot of the actual canvas so you won't have to save it, or you can just export it in 2x2. Assuming you're using Piskel, when you go to the export button, you can just use the scale meter, like as you see right here. Okay, Smart, you see how on mine the edges of the hammer, the part that would actually be that would actually come in contact with items, is highlighted? Go ahead and do that to your hammer, and then you can do your, like, side stripes thing that you have going out with yours. So, highlight the tip, and then with the rest of the area, you can go ahead and do your, side stripes thing. I'm gonna go ahead and just open this up. and copy it. This is a very big image, so I'm probably gonna have to... Yeah, performance problem detected. I love that. Oh. It was much, much smaller than I thought. Oh, wow. Oh, boy. That's amazing. That's not actually a virus. I have a ton of, like, cheat engine type things. Okay, so smaller on yours. I'd go ahead... This looks a bit too much like a sword. What I would go ahead and do is I would... Oh, wow. That's very massive and consistent pixel sizes right there. Just shade it more like an actual gem. You know, take the 3 pixels right here. Make that your highlighter, maybe the 5 and a cross. You can use your second color and do the same thing. Try and shade it in shapes. Again, you can look at mine for reference to that. Go ahead and shade it in shapes. I'm not sure if these were intentional or not, but I would get rid of those. I would shade your pommel more like this. Put the highlight of your handles, always put it around here. And then you just really lazily gradient that. It's honestly that simple. You just lazily gradient that. And make sure your third color lasts much longer, and if you have to use your fourth color, use that just for the rest. Even though there doesn't seem to be a fourth color here, which is just amazing. Or maybe I just straight up skipped it. That's a thing too. I think I just straight up skipped the third. Yeah, I definitely did. It's handles. Considering the fourth color is right there for your pommel, I just do that. Like you can only, I would recommend for the pommel, you can only use the highlight right here, which if it's one color above this. Alright, Meowsers, I'll be, Meowsers. Ugh, can't speak today. Alright, I'll be getting to yours after we finish with Smars, but lastly, I would do this Smar, just, you know, highlight around the actual edges of the hammer. You can see my amazing demonstration here. Go ahead and do that, and then you can continue this little stripe thing you got going on. Don't worry about it being small. That actually helps with pasting. That doesn't mean go post all your things in like 2 pixels by 2 pixels, but considering I paste everything in instead of saving it, the smaller the dimensions are, the easier it is for me to paste it. I just have to spam undo to go ahead and get rid of all this. Intense typing. There we go. Okay, ignoring the palette, the first thing I'm gonna go ahead and do is just generally make your handle shorter. Like, a big problem with some sprites is that you can see, like, this looks like this handle would break, but it's still metal. Don't use, like, a 2x2 handle like this, unless it's, like, a very, very big thing. In this case, I don't think that warrants it. So I would go ahead and just do this. Just make it 1 pixel by 1 pixel. And then you just shade it like this. Kind of put it in the top middle, your highlight, and then you just take your second color, surround it, take the third color, surround the second one, and then you just take that and keep going. Make your third color last longer, and there you go. That's pretty simple. So there's your handle. For the actual hammer itself, I'm gonna be using this side as an example. This thing keeps like taking all of my cheats and stuff like that for SP games, even like single player games even, and just deleting them. That's why I kind of removed my exclusions by accident. Yeah, I know you guys can hear the key presses. It's pretty loud. I'm sorry. Anyways, go ahead and shade it more like this. Just use more highlight, and then with your second color, continue it just a bit, and then anti-alias this. You can look in samples to see what anti-aliasing actually is. You're just kind of adding pixels from darker and lighter parts to make it look a bit smoother and a bit fancier. I'm just gonna add a little bit of anti-aliasing here. It wasn't that good right there. You don't have to do like the precise anti-aliasing I'm doing right now, but it, you know, anti-alias is kind of similar to this, considering there's not much more you can do with it. Next, you can fill this up with your darkest, but I'm used to working with 4, so I'm not actually going to be using this one. And then just go ahead and shade that. And there's your mallet. That's right there. I wouldn't copy that exactly, considering it's not actually the best thing in the world that I've done before. But, you know, that's arguably better. At least in my opinion. It's gonna that's how I'm gonna be teaching it. Also, I would make this gem thing right here, I'd make that a little smaller. Like this. Just take that. That's the wrong color. Take that. Make the top of the gem a little pointy. And then move your hammer thing 1 pixel closer to it, which I'm not going to be doing on the camera. Well, not camera, but you get what I'm saying, because that would take forever. You would just have to move it row by row. Well, actually, I have nothing better to do, considering you guys are working on yours right now, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And there you go. You have your hammer thing. Also, I'd recommend using this color for your pommel thing right here. This is a pretty unique shape. Do something like this. I actually like that. That's a good shape right there. Okay, I'm using the wrong colors. I am literally God tier right now. I am qualified to do this. So as you can see, it's a pretty basic pommel shading right there, but you did go with the shape. I'm just gonna stay on here so you can see it. Yeah?
It's the halftime show. They're supposed to be doing a tribute to SpongeBob, but so far it sounds like a big, untalented rap concert.
I want to kill myself.
What's wrong?
I'm streaming.
Oh, and I'm talking over it?
Well, I'm not talking right now, but...
Oh, okay. Well, then they don't know I'm
here. That makes sense. That's supreme skill. Well, good thing everybody had the stream muted. And probably unmuted the stream when I deafened. And hopefully failure is gone. Cool, thanks YouTube. I love my thing being red. And apparently 3 people are watching. 3 people. There's only, yeah, I guess I hope that's counting me. It's the one time I hope I don't have viewers. Alright, anyways, yeah, here's the thing. Next for palettes, I'm just gonna use this as an example. So for your blue, you want to start around right here. This is your hue meter. As you can see, if you look at the numbers, the darker the color is, the closer I'm heading towards the ends, and the same thing would apply for plants. You would start around here and you would move closer towards that end, but if it's, and basically anything else that has to do with something like that, you move more toward here. So basically start at light blue right here, and then just move it maybe by like 10 through 20 per. Go ahead and maybe start with 10 or 12, and then go to 14 difference, 16 difference. So As you can see right here, I go for this, then I add 14, then I add 8, which isn't as much, but you know, you would add maybe 14 right there, and then you'd add maybe 14 right here, and then you'd add maybe 18 right here. Next, for saturation, your lightest color should have the least saturation, which you seem to have done, and you would just slowly bump that up. And for the outline, it would be around the same as this. Lastly, value. You can go ahead and ignore RGB. That's actually just a different version of this. As you can see, if I change this, those actually change too. I'm gonna go revert that. Start with, for your value, you want to start light for your highlight, then go a very steep drop for your next one, and just much smaller drops. And then for the outline, you want a very big drop once more. And there you go. Also, I'd stick to around 5 colors. It may seem difficult to shade like that, but it shouldn't be too much of an issue. Also, try not to use black outlines. You should keep your outlines related to the palette. So like for the orange, I would have your outline actually orange too. So give each palette its own individual outline. No, that is not what the... You can go ahead and see the end result right there. This doesn't really look that good on this side, considering you are using more than 5. This is only a palette of 5. But yeah, that's the gist of this right here. And for this gem thing, the same thing I told Smar, try to shade in shapes, and that's about all I can tell you guys when it comes to hammers. So you guys gonna go ahead and post your progress updates. I guess I'm just gonna leave the stream on that. Also, you may experience some buffering. I'm sorry about that. It's the Super Bowl, so my whole family's downstairs watching it. There's not really much I can do. As you can see, this is working around fine. Yeah. Hi, Alpha. I literally didn't even notice you because my headphones aren't working. Hi. Alright, so Alpha. Okay, are you starting on a hammer or a set or anything? Yeah. But yeah, the current assignment right now is to get a set done. Like, it's progressive though, so this week we're gonna go ahead and focus on tools. It's gonna go pickaxe, axe, and hammer. You can go ahead and just look at vanilla stuff for reference. That's the same thing I did. You'll eventually learn like how to improve on vanilla because vanilla does have quite a lot of issues with it. Also, I'm gonna give you the student role considering you're in a lesson. Boxcars has been in the lesson, so you should have the student role. Xander submitted, so they should have the student role. It's a very squeaky mouse wheel that I have, which is just epic. You know, Mo was the first submitter. Was the first guy to get banned, first guy to get muted, first guy to get warned. First for everything, including getting banned. Time for the ultimate job of lessons. Trying to hide that I'm stealing memes from Reddit while everybody's working on their things. I'd mute the stream. It's a pretty big delay. Sorry, for some reason Reddit can't be reached. Love that. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and send a screenshot of this hammer in school chat, considering the stream has less than 2.5 minutes left. I probably won't actually finish my set, considering I'm not participating. Here you go, the set of similarities. Here, let me just... Alright, I guess I'm just gonna leave this up for the rest of the stream, considering I can't get rid of this, I'm working on it. This is a cloaked boy. Click, click. Mouse wheel dies. Yeah, my mouse wheel likes to squeak. That's why it's called a mouse wheel. I'll ban myself. We in the last 10 seconds, boys. 4, 3, 2, 1.